This is TVC News Hour. I'm Moses Omoghena with the business update. Bharti Airtel, India's largest mobile phone carrier, has agreed to sell more than 3,500 telecommunications towers in Africa to Eaton Towers. London-based Eaton bought the assets located in 6 African countries for almost $1 billion. Bharti Airtel says the deal will help reduce its $12 billion debt. And the Nigerian organized private sector says the moratorium period given for the effective takeoff date of the automotive policy poses severe threats to the economy. President of the Nigerian Association of Chambers of Commerce, Industry, Mines and Agriculture, Alhaji Mohammed Abubakar, says the policy, which is yet to be fully implemented, would lead to a decrease in the demand for imported used vehicles, while this will affect the transportation sector. Abubakar warned that it could breed a necessary monopoly and also result in a spike in unemployment numbers. President of the NACCIMA, Mohammed Abubakar, now joins us via phone to explain further on this. Many thanks to Mohammed for joining us.
Well, thank you very much.
All right, so quickly, can you just tell us what exactly do you think will be the effect, mostly adverse, on this new auto policy on the transport sector?
Well, the new auto policy, I said, has its own advantage and disadvantage for now. The advantage is if it is fully articulated, it will create jobs and expand and reduce our import significantly. But at the interior, before the full takeoff, it will have some effect on our transportation policy and our transportation business. If there is a total ban on the importation of automobiles now, I think the assembly plants are not ready to satisfy the demand for now. So the increase in duty, which is also okay for now, and the importers continue to do business, and the impact is felt, but not significantly felt as to create disaster in the system. I believe the levy, if introduced right now, it will create a lot of problems because the cost of clearing of vehicles will go so high, and that will create a problem since the new automobile assembly has not started churning out enough. So that was why we called for the delay on the implementation of the levy. And that has been done by the federal government for now.
Okay, Mr. Mohammed. Now, you would agree with me how expensive it is to purchase and to manage a car or a vehicle in this country. Now, the government seeks to implement a 70% import duty on vehicles. How do you think this decision was arrived upon, and how does this even help an average car owner or dealer in Nigeria?
Well, of course, the 70% duty, that is 35% levy, and 35% duty is a lot too high to help the transportation system in the country. And that was why when we bring facts and figures to the government, the levy is delayed until we see how the prices and the delivery of the new cars started impacting in the economy. And when it starts to impact, then we will do another analysis to see if it will lessen the difficulties that people will pay. It's impossible to pay 70% at this time, where people are really yearning to own cars and to move cars that they can buy cheaply and run around cheaply, and where the transportation system and the roads are not fully developed, and the mass transit is normally done by governments, either by rail or buses, is not really very effective across the country.
All right, now there have been complaints that big companies have taken over businesses meant for small enterprises. What is NACCIMA doing to curb this, the penetration of multinationals into small, medium enterprises?
Well, definitely. Well, if you look at the economy in Nigeria, the currency rate has stabilized for some time, and the multinationals that borrow money abroad for a very cheap interest rate have minimum risks to invest in Nigeria if they believe that the currency will stabilize over time. I think those people borrow abroad for 2-3 and come in and compete with us that we borrow for between 15 to 28%. So, of course, they have upper hand because they have cheap funds, and the exchange rate has stabilized over time, so that risk is almost eliminated. So they have very, very cheap funds, and that is why they are taking over a lot of the businesses in this country.
All right, finally, before you go, now, a lot of stakeholders have been clamoring for the need that Nigeria should learn to design, manufacture, and assemble its own vehicles and cars, to save us from importation. Do you think if this happens, would this in any way help, the new policies involved now?
Yeah, I think you have to start something first. First is the assembly. Then out of the assembly, you look at for the accessories that we can produce locally, like footmat, maybe a headdress, or things that we can do, and gradually expanding. So when they are importing the dismantle or the securities in, some of the units, some of the accessories in the production can be produced locally. But to get total production, we have to bring Jakarta into life. Our steel factory has to be resuscitated to achieve the desired objectives. But gradually, I think if the
all right, Mr. Mohammed. All right, Mr. Mohammed. I'm afraid that's all we can take. Many thanks for your time. Thank you for joining us. Now, moving on, the Nigerian market opens Tuesday high, following Monday's positive trade in many sectors. The stockbroker Rotimi Fakayejo spoke earlier on the current market behavior as usual.
The Nigerian capital market has value and it's giving good returns to investors. So even when there is a when the trend is downward some other time, it does not mean that the market is going to remain permanently so that way. And I think the market has been tried, tested, and has proved that, yes, it will continue to stand strong and give more value and return to investors. So I think for what we've seen so far, we expect that the banking sector stock will lead the pack, will lead the market back to positive trend. And that is exactly what we are seeing. Yesterday, the banking sector actually led the market, and we are seeing a different turn right now. And more so, even though yesterday we saw something that reminds us that yesterday the investors are still looking at this market very closely and taking interest in it. We saw the value being done yesterday standing at over 50 billion naira. Courtesy of a huge transaction done on the floor between Investment Corporation of Dubai and Dangote Cement. I think they took a large stake in that particular company yesterday, and at least more than 1% of the company was traded yesterday by that company, and the trade was championed by one of the stockbroking firms, Meristem Securities Limited. And I think this is really proving, giving us further evidence that yes, indeed, our market has global acceptance and people believe in what we are doing in the Nigerian capital market.
And still in Nigeria, the Airports Authority has entered a partnership deal with one of its concessionaires, Sky Plus Logistics, for the implementation of inter-airport terminal shuttles to reduce the problem of passenger movement within the airport. The Federal Airports Authority of Nigeria, while initiating the shuttle bus, says the effort is geared towards enhancing passengers' security, comfort, and boosting the image of the country. It also added that the airport's terminal shuttle is introduced to provide an efficient system that will help solve transportation challenges within the airports.
There used to be a problem with the movement of people from the local airports to the international airports. So that was the genesis of this concept. So from there, so we now, okay, now say we are going to look to a way out of this challenge that people normally encounter whenever they are moving from local to the international airport.
Crude oil prices are down in the international markets, resulting from industrial slowdowns in the United States and China. The London price of the Brent dips by 27 cents to force down actual crude value at $99 per barrel. The OPEC basket crude price tumbles to $97 per barrel. And that's all we can take on business updates at this hour. I'm Moses Omoghena. The rest of the news continues with Esther and Kayode.
Thanks a lot, Moses, for those business stories.
All right, moving on TVC News. It will be time for sports news with Solomon Ajiziogu.